Back at it again, Cigar Spence, and you know what time it is. It's the spring season, so it means it's list season, and this time I'm thinking a little bit defensively. We're going with the top 50 defensive linemen from East Texas since 2000. All right, so anybody that was in high school from 2000 through 2024, 25 years. We're looking at the best 50 defensive linemen, both defensive ends and defensive tackles. This is a list that when I'm going into my thinking process going into this, I'm thinking talent, of course, but production. And if you have talent and the production, then that puts you at the top. If you just got talent alone without production, it's going to be hard for me to argue against somebody that's talented and production. And then how do you argue against some people who have production? Of course, at the same time, you got to pass the eye test. You know, what you've done and your resume has to be impressive. You know, there's and that's going to eliminate a lot of cats just off the bit because of where they play at. And, you know, it's just it don't look impressive. And then if you don't go to college and do something to improve your worth, then it's just going to be, you did it, but you did it at such and such. That's my bias going into it. Just gonna be upfront with you. You know, that's just how I think about it, and that's how I process my my ideas. And nonetheless, here we go. So the best 50 defensive linemen in high school from East Texas, starting at number 50. We're gonna go through all 50 of these, and we're not gonna spend too long on it. At number 50, Ashton Dorsey from Tyler High, 2009, signed with the University of Texas. He had like 9 career sacks. First or second team All-State his senior year. Not crazy numbers, but hella talented. Had to block him. He is a heavy dude, but he has some finesse to him. Like I said, he went to the University of Texas, produced, and then he went and finished at Commerce, I believe. But a talented dude. He comes in here at number 50 from Tyler High, or John Tyler. And number 49, Mario McCain. Really impressive resume. Not the biggest guy in the world, about 5'10", 225. But really impressive resume. 58 games started as a high school football player. That just speaks to the level of accomplishment. Offensive lineman first 2 years of his career, and then as a junior, he starts to play defensive as well as start on the other side of the ball. So doesn't have the luxury of sitting on the sideline half of the game like most of these defensive linemen do. And he finished with 16 career sacks. And that's not the only thing. He has he has over 180 tackles as well. Hella productive, and has a legacy in Carthage as 58 games started. That's incredible. And number 48, older player from Hooks, Texas, Gerald Gooden, defensive end. Gerald Gooden comes in at number 48. He went on to Purdue. In 2006, he had 122 tackles. He had 8 sacks and had an interception as well. Don't know anything about his junior numbers. And that's what you're going to run into when you start looking at these older kids. The numbers are hard to find. And if you do get a number, you just get like that senior year. There's these younger guys, you know, with 247, and then how coaches are putting in numbers on max preps nowadays. You can look up the numbers and you can see everything that they did throughout their entire career. These older cats, you get what you get. So for these older guys, it's going to be like more so, what did you do in college? And so when you look at him at Purdue, he was a 3-year starter. And he made over 120 tackles at that time, so that means that he was talented as well. And so he lands here without me knowing very much about him. I have to put my respect on it and put him here at number 48. At number 47, from Pleasant Grove, 2023, Javon Wheeler. Hell of an athlete, man. This dude is kind of what the new football defensive end looks like. He's 6'2", 215 pounds, and he's one of the faster dudes on the team. He's physical. He's got hella stats. He had 83 tackles as a junior, 7 sacks. Then as a senior, he turns around, has 22 tackles for a loss, and 8 sacks on top of that. Strong kid. Ended up signing for Southern Arkansas, so we'll see what happens in his college career. But the type of athlete and the physicality that he brings, snap in and snap out, That's hell on an offensive lineman, and that kind of speed at that position, man, he is really fast. And so, get a chance to catch some of his tape. He made my top 100 last year in 2023. So check his tape out on YouTube. Number 46, Thomas Jones from Longview, 2010. Was a linebacker first 2 years of his varsity career. Then moved down to defensive end as a senior, more so for team need and what we had on the team already. We had some pretty good linebackers that year, about 4 or 5 of them. So he moved down to defensive end where we were a little lacking at, and it was natural to him. He had 85 tackles, 14 for loss, 11 sacks, 2 fumbles forced, 2 fumbles recovers, and he scored one of them. First team All-State in 5A, and at that time 5A was 6A. Really dominant defensive player. The second best player on the defense behind Joe Brown that year. Very, very important to a team that went to the state semifinal in Big Boy 5A football. So has my respect there. Number 45, defensive tackle, Carthage 2020, Kylan Lister. Man, dude looks extremely strong. He was about 6'1", 260. Was a bull in the China shop, man. He a lot of stats, hella productive. 96 tackles, 10 for loss, and a pick. And then the senior year comes back, 72 tackles, 12 for loss, 3 sacks, and a fumble force. And the dude flies around the field. He's just one of those athletes that's just like, he's just a little bit, why is he running so fast? And that's one of those things that you saw in him. He's up and down the line of scrimmage. He's holding up to the point of attack. And really in Carthage, really for the last 6 years that I've been paying attention to him, 5 years, the last 5 years that I've been covering and doing top 100s, the defensive linemen don't get up the field very often. They hold the point of attack and let the linebackers do their job. And so Lister's one of those that is really, he can hold the point, throw linemen away, and make tackles at the line of scrimmage, and he was really, really good at it. And he went on and played and signed at San Angelo State. Highly productive, really good football player. And we're moving on to number 44, to Jeremiah Farley, a guy that I think is built in the same mold, about 6'1", about 240, 250 at the time, 6'2", maybe, really strong. But he's doing it at the 5A level, 4A, 5A level, and taking linemen that's going to Texas and throwing them around like rag dolls. He was very, very strong. Fast athlete, ran like a 4.6. Junior year, 88 tackles, 20 of them for loss, 8 sacks, and a forced fumble. Then senior year, dealt with some injuries. 43 tackles, 9 for loss, and 3 sacks. But you got 11 career sacks, 4A, 5A football, playing very good competition. Signed a scholarship with the University of Houston. So that part of it is there as well. Didn't do much in college. So, but for what he was in high school, much better fit to be a better defensive lineman in high school based off of the type of lineman he's facing at that size, So I think this is a good place here for Farley at number 44. 43, guy that just got through playing at Carthage, Braylon Allison. Big dude, man. He's about maybe 6'1", 285. And just like, talked about Lister, these guys don't get up the field. And, man, this dude, like, he plays defensive line like an offensive lineman. Like, he's going to take the guard in the center and throw him back first a yard or two. And then he's going to snag the running back when he comes into his grasp. 3-time varsity guy, 3-time first-team all-district guy. Stats on his sophomore year I don't have. Junior year, 68 tackles, 15 for loss, 5 sacks. Senior year came out, 66 tackles, 21 for loss, 3 sacks, had a fumble recovery, and a touchdown as well. Named the district's best defensive lineman. This Carthage defense, the secondary isn't as great. Like, there's been better secondaries in the past. Like Ked Harper's comes to my mind off the rip. That group was amazing. Rockmore, all of them. This group, linebacker wise, front seven wise, insane. One of the best front sevens probably ever in East Texas history. When you look at the defensive linemen that they put out there and the linebackers that they put behind them, Braylon Allison was the best defensive lineman out of those guys, and he's here on the list at number 43. At number 42, another monster from Carthage, played in 2011. He was a 4-star prospect, signed with Texas A&M out of high school, Isaiah Golden. He was one of the best defensive line prospects ever. He was considered a 5-star. He was right up there with Jamarcus McFarland, 5-star, 4-star kind of guy leaving. And he had good numbers. He had 78 tackles and 8 sacks as a junior, and then he had 76 tackles and 4 sacks as a senior. To me, he played and he was built a little bit more like a guard. And I think that may have, and I don't want to shit on what happened at that. He wasn't very productive at A&M, left A&M, and I don't really know what happened after that. But that's where he's ranked here at number 42. I know he was at one point considered a 5-star, but it just didn't pan out. And you know what I'm saying? I'm not shitting on the guy at all. I'm not here for that at all. But he's here at number 42 because of the numbers. The numbers aren't just dominant. You're going to see guys with hundreds of tackles and double-digit sacks in both ears. And I know his job as a defensive tackle was not to go and get the quarterback like that. But, stats here and then the stats don't really translate at that college level either. So that's why a 5-star type guy is here at number 42. At number 41, Marshall, I'm going to say a senior like it's a top 100 list. Marshall, 2021, defensive tackle Isaiah Alexander. And that dude was a dude in the middle here. He was a 3-year starter for Marshall. Wasn't like the best in the world in 2019 and 2020. As a senior, though, he was very dominant. He had it figured out. And that's the great thing about guys when they get a chance to play early on. By the time that they get to their senior year, they're very mature. They understand everything. And by that time, the physicality has caught up with everybody else. And his strength and was just on display the entire year. He had 20 tackles for loss that year and 4 sacks. A whole lot of just beating guys, beating double teams, and snatching running backs and throwing them down to the ground. He signed with Pitt State. He's still there at Pitt State, still on the team contributing. But he was a very good high school defensive lineman. And the production and I had to see it. Like I'm watching the dude week in, week out. We scouting against Marshall. We're playing Marshall. For my own eyes, he was cold. And so he's on my list, and he's right here at number 41. Here we go, keeping it going. Number 40, played in 2015 out of Gilmer. DeMarco Boyd. DeMarco Boyd went on to the University of Texas and played linebacker there at the University of Texas. And at times he played linebacker at Gilmer. But when he was at his best is when he was at a 3-tech and going off at the line of scrimmage as a defensive tackle. Boyd played that position his junior and senior year as well. Like, he played some linebacker early on, but he played a lot of defensive tackle. And I know he went on to college to play linebacker, but to me, at his best, he was a defensive tackle, and that's when he was the most disruptive on the defense. A lot of tackles, hella productive, a 4-year player, 60 tackles as a freshman, 48 as a sophomore, 101 tackles as a junior, 74 tackles as a senior. A whole lot of sacks, probably just scanning it real quick. He had over 21, 22 sacks in his career. So he's a guy that had big production. Also was the team's running back on top of that. A guy that was catching the ball out of the backfield, a lot of catches out of the backfield. Did a lot of the things that his brother did the year after his brother. And he, did it well, just in a bigger, heavier set. A really good football player. And like I said, to me, when he's at defensive tackle, that's when he was at his best, and especially at the high school level. Like, not at college, right? But this ain't a college list. We're just talking about the best ever in high school, and he was very dominant in high school at that 6'2", not 6'2". He's probably like 6 foot, 6'1", 240, 245. He was hell. He was hell on boys, and that's why he comes up here at number 40. And number 39. A senior from Van, 2012, Sid Moore. Sid Moore played 2010 to 2012. He's a 3-year producer down there at Van. 60 tackles as a sophomore, second team all district guy. And then as a junior, 96 tackles, 38 for loss, 8 sacks. As a senior, he is He got 102 tackles, 34 for loss, 8 sacks, and then he forced 2 fumbles on top of that. He signed with North Texas, so that lets you know like he was of a certain caliber. Signed with a Division I school, and not sure about his college career. Didn't really do too much. Didn't know too much about his college career, but no, a big time player, a dominant defensive player, and those tackles for loss, man. Those just let you know everything you need to know. I mean, they cannot block you. 38 one year, 34 the next. Could not be touched in high school, and that makes him a really, really good high school defensive lineman. Comes here at number 39, Sid Moore from Van. At number 38, from Tyler High, John Tyler. 2016, defensive end, DeKalen Goodson. And DeKalen Goodson is another one of those guys that are evolved with the game. He's like, this dude's probably a power forward in 2004. Like, he's probably not playing outside linebacker in 2004, 2005 in the good old days when the districts were East Texas, and there were Tyler Lee and John Tyler and Longview and Lufkin and playing each other twice a year back in 02, 03. Yeah, he'd probably be a power forward in those days. But in 2015, 2016, the game's more finesse. Now it's more about I can shake an offensive lineman, get to the quarterback, get him down on the ground. That's DeKalen Goodson's game. Finesse pass rusher all day. Could play the run. As he got older, he was even better at playing the run. But he was a pass rusher from the first time they put him out there on the field. Six sacks as a sophomore. 32 tackles, and 6 sacks. And as a junior, he goes on 70 tackles, 20 tackles for loss, and 11 sacks. Committed to the University of Houston that summer. Went on to Houston after his senior year, where he had 6 sacks again. So we're talking about 23 career sacks, a guy that was really good at getting to the quarterback. And then, like I'm saying, it's 2015, 2016, they're throwing the ball. That ball ain't in the quarterback's hands all day long. So he's doing a lot of pass rushing. So in order to get to the quarterback, 23, anybody with over 20 career sacks, I tip my hat to, especially if they're playing in 5A, 6A football and they're playing against these elite schemes and guys and quarterbacks that can get out of their hands in a jiffy. So if you're playing those kind of quarterbacks and that style of football, you got over 20 career sacks, you can probably expect to be on this list. At number 37, Jared Carter McClin out of Carthage in 2014. He went on to play at UTEP, UTSA, one of the two. But yeah, at Carthage, he was that dude. Sophomore on the 23 state championship team, had 75 tackles and 10 sacks on that team. As a junior, he played both tight end and defensive end. 80 tackles as a junior, 5 sacks, and then as a senior, explosive year, 120 tackles, 20 for loss, 4 sacks, 8 pass breakups, and then got to pressure the quarterback 34 times. Like I said, the whole scheme in Carthage is not to get up the field and play as wild and as reckless as possible. They're going to make their defensive linemen hold point and let their athletic linebackers run around. And that's why you'll see a bunch of linebackers from Carthage on the linebacker list. Nonetheless, still finding a way to make 10 sacks as a sophomore, 5'4", so it's 19 career sacks, and he goes on to college, and he's a ball player at UTSA. Don't know have the numbers in front of me, but he was a dude at UTSA as well. So that kind of stamps his talent that he not only was he not just a big fast guy running around people, but he also could play football at a big time level on a Division I level at UTSA. So that's why I'm stamping him here at number 37, Jared Carter McClin. At number 36, it is the school leader, all-time sack leader at Longview High School, Billy Smith. Billy Smith, not the biggest guy in the world. 6'1", 6 foot, 250, anywhere from 215 to 235. You know what I mean? Not a really big guy at all. Not crazy strength. Like, he was strong and he could play, but he wasn't crazy strong. He wasn't like, old school Bubba Vector strong, old school Farley strong. He's not those kind of guys, like not TJ Norris, not those kind of guys, right? So he's strong, athletic kid, and he was just really good at football. And he's one of those guys that was a really good high school defensive lineman. Throughout his time at Longview High School, he came out with over 20 sacks. As a sophomore, he had like 4. Playing varsity, probably should have been on JV, but that just shows you like where we were in 2021. It was cut and dry. It was bad around there, but we found a way to put a young team together. I think we went to the third round, lost to Denton Ryan that year. Then the next year, the junior year, is where he showed out. 69 tackles, 17 for loss, 13 sacks, which is the school record. 13 sacks is the school record for most sacks in a year. As a senior, Billy balled out again. He had 57 tackles, 16 for loss, 6 sacks this time. And so that gives him, I believe, 23 and a half career sacks. And I believe he's either the all-time sack leader or ex-Shepherd is, which you'll find out a little bit later when we put those numbers together. But Billy is his junior year was amazing. 13 sacks, first team All-State. Just a ridiculous year, and especially in 2022 when we went to the 5th round and got beat to Alito that year. But yeah, Billy Smith, like I said, doesn't have the size and the talent to go play at a Division I level or big time school, but that doesn't take away from what he accomplished 5A, 6A football in high school, and he was a good high school defensive lineman. Comes in here at number 36. At number 35, Antonio Washington, Marshall, 2015. And he's like, and I'm biased on this one because that was the Marshall team that beat Longview, and I saw him wreck shop in front of my own 2 eyes. So, the guys that I got a chance to watch, I know how good they were. And you can't tell me much about Antonio Washington. He was an absolute dude. He was a bad man in 2015. Best defender on that team. They went to the 4th round. He had 90 tackles, 38 tackles for loss. 38 disruptive plays. 38 plays that probably led to a punt because it's hard to overcome 2nd and 14, 3rd and 12. All of a sudden now instead of 2nd and 1 and now it's 3rd and 5. It's hard. Like those plays are hard for an offense to overcome, and to have 38 of those in one season just shows just how disruptive you were, especially at the 5A level. So some big time ball being played at Marshall. They went 4 rounds deep that year. Special team out there. Played at Southern Arkansas. Was a 4-year starter for the Mill Riders. So he was a 4-year starter in college. So that kind of lets you know D2. Maybe he probably should have went D1, but even that he went D2, he showed right away he was a guy that could play. After a redshirt year, he starts 4 years for them. And I think now he's even a cop in Marshall. He's doing big things in the city of Marshall. So shout out to Antonio Washington. He made an impression upon me that night that they kicked our tails, and I was on the sideline to see it. But no, he's a great guy and a great man. It looks like as well. So he comes in here at number 35. At number 34, we're going back to Longview, and it is everybody's favorite defensive tackle, Bubba Vactor. Bubba Vactor, to me, talent-wise, top 5. Talent-wise, top 5. And that's hella biased because I had to block him almost every day in practice. So I know just how talented Bubba Vactor is. He's 5'11", 200, anywhere from 284 pounds to his senior year, maybe 305, 309-ish, anywhere in that range. And the most agile man that you'll see at that size. Strong as a bull, can squat over 500, 600 pounds. Lateral quickness insane. Hand-eye coordination insane. Strength, speed, combo, like the combination of athleticism inside it, like made up in the Bubba Vactor is insane, talent-wise. Now you got to be honest. I can't just say bias-wise I know how talented he was and then not look at the numbers. The numbers don't necessarily say that he was that talented. So let's get into it. As a junior, misses whole sophomore year, terrible shoulder injury at the beginning of the year, had to have surgery, shut it down. As a junior, made his debut, was pretty good, 68 tackles, 2 sacks. As a senior, he plays. Now, senior year was his year. Second team All-State, I believe. But he finished the year 82 tackles, 5 sacks, a block kick, and the emotional leader up front. Like when he decided to turn it on, he turned it on. playing nose guard too now. So that's the thing. Like, of course, the production, you could say, was he playing in a 3-4 or was he playing in a 4-2? Sometimes he played in a 4-2 as a junior. Bad ankle injury, kind of missed damn near the whole playoff run. Because even when he came back, he couldn't really get into it because his ankle was hurting him. Senior year was a year that really showed his dominance, but his senior year, he's a true nose. Like, we're in an odd structure. He's truly a nose. So the sack numbers aren't going to be crazy from that perspective, I understand. But just for some of these other guys that have stupendous numbers, it's kind of hard, and that's kind of where he fits. No, very talented guy, very impressive athlete. One of the most impressive guys. I mean, and this Longview we talking about. Trent Williams is, you hear people talking about Trent Williams and how insane athleticism he has. Bubba Vector's in that same, class of athleticism for a guy that's that big. And it's like, dude, why are you? That don't make no sense. He was an animal. Comes in here at 34. At number 33, Drew Parks, 2001 Lufkin Panthers. A lot of people are going to be very upset with where Drew Parks, because there's a great level of respect for him. It is a part of me being young, so for me, I'm just going straight resume, going based off what I can see. When you're not there and you don't get a chance to live it and experience it, you're not going to be able to give the proper due to it. So just take that into account when you hear me say this. So it's not personal, and it's not like I'm trying to disrespect anybody, but when you don't have anything that you can watch, and then you don't have actual numbers in front of you, you're just going off a namesake, and so that's got to fit into the equation as well. Big time player. He is immortalized because of a defensive stand in the fifth round. In the fifth round, a fourth down stop on the goal line. And that's what you know about players, and that's how you tattoo your name into people's brains, by making plays when they matter the absolute most. He went on to sign to Texas A&M, full ride, and finished a career there. And then in 2017, he was recognized as a All-American Rival Series Hall of Famer in the Nacogdoches and Lufkin rivalry game. So he's a guy that played at A&M, but I don't have A&M stats on him, so it's hard to really give him his proper due without being able to see it. So like I said, I'm not shitting on him, but got to keep that in perspective and why he sits here at number 33. At number 32, from Pleasant Grove, this guy just got finished. Barry Rochelle Jr. Explosive. And he's got the type of explosion that at the high school level, man, there ain't a classification where he wouldn't have been successful. When you see the guys on the 6A level, and they're not the biggest guys in the world, like the Jackson players of the world, who, if you don't know him, go check him out. Waco Midway 2017 was the best football player we ever went against, best defensive lineman we ever went against in 2017, Jackson player. You don't have to be huge to be an effective and dominant player on the high school level. And Barry Rochelle isn't the hugest guy in the world. He's 5'11", 240. But his explosion is crazy. In 2003, he's a linebacker. In 04, 05, he's that old school Mike, that Dexter Coakley neck pad. I'm finna come down here and stroke. Pow! He's that guy. But now in 2024, when it's about getting to the quarterback and making those big explosive plays behind the line of scrimmage, he's playing defensive tackle. Two-time member of my top 100 East Texas players list as a junior. Didn't play the entire season. Came in later. Had 33 tackles, 8 for loss, 4 sacks, 2 fumbles forced. The type of plays he makes, though, is just saying, oh, yeah, the talent is there. And in 2024, he had 107 tackles, 25 for loss, 7 sacks, 32 pressures, 3 fumbles forced, and then he blocked 2 kicks as well. And he signed with Southern Arkansas this spring. So another guy, a benefit of having tape. Another guy that so you can see it with your own too, and just see how dominant he is and how he is affecting the high school game. And cannot deny where he puts it. And probably his athleticism, you probably argue he could be even higher. But he's going to pop up here at number 32. At number 31, 2023 Pine Tree, Dalen Evans. Dalen Evans comes in. He is just left Pine Tree, 2023. He is a guy that's at Texas A&M right now, 4-star defensive lineman. Everything looks up for the man right now. Not going to lie to you. 6'5", 310 pounds right now. But in high school, you're looking at a 6'5", 275-pound guy that can run around. Athletic as they get, play tight end as well. Has some pretty good catches as a tight end for touchdowns. As a junior, big year. 27 tackles for loss. Was second in his senior year. A decent year, about 58 tackles, 4 sacks, 8 tackles for loss. But nonetheless, like him at his best, him at his best is right here where he fits at number 31. That number 31 will feel like it's too low. Because I think at A&M, I think he's got a lot of potential. And I think he has the opportunity to grow. But nonetheless, at a 5A level, let's not forget he's playing against Texas High, playing against Marshall, playing the 5A level, and 27 tackles for loss, 27 disruptive plays. That is a lot at that division, at that level. And so he is appropriately here at number 31, Dalen Evans. We have at number 30 from Mount Pleasant, signed with Baylor in 2021, Trey Emery. And Trey Emery was a 4-star prospect, a similar fit, similar mold, like a Dalen Evans at 31, but Trey was a true nose type of guy. 6'3", 290, 285 pounds. His junior year was his best year, and you see that a lot with some of these bigger defensive tackles when they're at 265, 270, 275. They can still move really, 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 really well. Their junior year, they're explosive. And then their senior year, they might be 290. They might be 295. And they don't move quite as well. But they're still productive players, don't get me wrong. He's still on here because he's still hella productive. Went on to Baylor, signed with Baylor. Was a district MVP as a junior. 48 tackles, 9 for loss, 6 sacks. And then senior numbers not out there where I can't find them anyway. But still a disruptive player, still a good football player. Went on to Baylor, 4-star prospect. At his best, to me, he belongs in this spot. And at his best, that was his junior year. So I'm taking at him at his prime, at his best. He belongs here. I think he's the 30th best defensive lineman we've had in these sections since 2000. At number 29, he is from 2022 from Tatum, Texas. It's C.J. Fight. And C.J. was special for Tatum. It was absolutely special for Tatum. That size, strength, combination, speed was absolutely disruptive at that level. Defensive MVP in his district as a junior. As a sophomore, he tore it up. As a junior, those numbers combined, he had 94 tackles, 23 for loss, 8 sacks. Don't have his senior numbers. They're not online. He's a hell of a productive player his senior year as well. I think he's a 4-year varsity guy down there at Tatum. Played both sides of the line of scrimmage all night. So that's another knock in itself. Or not a knock, but another, patch of honor in itself, not getting the chance to rest half of the game, playing the entire game. And CJ did that for those Eagles. Then you see him at Arizona State. He is a two-year starter there, and he's been there 2 years. So he does his job well. He's not really an explosive behind the line of scrimmage type player. He holds points, lets the linebacker turn behind him, makes tackles when they come his way. He is a productive player there. He's been on my list a couple times for the top 50 East Texas players in college, and so he is being a productive player. And his career seems, if he has one of those big years and his numbers jump, the league might be calling. So he sits here at number 29, and like I said, in the next 5 years, it has the potential to go way up just based off what he does. At number 28 from Chapel Hill, 2023. And this is going to feel like it's a little biased right now because you're seeing a lot of 2001, 2 and 3, 21, 2 and 3s, but it'll even itself out after a minute. Number 28 is Kendall Allen from Chapel Hill. Kendall Allen was a 3-star, 4-star guy out of Chapel Hill, 6'3", 265-pound defensive end, 245-pound defensive end. Signed with Texas Tech, so that part of it is there. And then he is just a major stat producer. As a junior, he had 97 tackles and 4.5 sacks. And then as a senior, he had 132 tackles, 6 sacks as well on top of that. And then, so look at these numbers, and a lot of times when you got to look at the school and who they're playing and who they're playing with, and while some guys are more productive than others. And so at a place like Longview, 67 tackles may not look impressive, but you're also probably playing with a guy that's got 65 next to you, a linebacker that's got 120 behind you, 137 on the other side, a safety with 92. Like, when you're playing at these more talented schools, like a Chapel Hill, which I included, and is why it's coming up at this point, some of these tackle numbers are impressive because the people on the field that they have to compete with just to get tackles. Yeah, no, some numbers are impressive, and then some numbers are like, oh, damn, yeah, you really earned that one. But anyway, 97 tackles and 132 tackles. That's over 220 tackles in the career, last 2 seasons of his career. He's at Texas Tech. He redshirted this past year, so nice to see what he'll do out here this spring, see if he can find his way into the 2 deep and just continue to try to find his way onto the football field. But Kendall Allen was a dominant football player, a disruptive football player, and a guy that can get up and down that sideline with a relentless effort to have over 200-something tackles from a defensive end position. At number 27 from Longview, 2022, we are talking about Jeremiah Rugley. Told you, anything over 20, high respect for. Jeremiah Rugley, over 20, explosive guy from 2021, 2022. Yeah, he won 45 for Longview. Very, very disruptive in 2021, his junior year. Went for 12 sacks. At that time, that would tie the score. No, it didn't tie the score record. 13 has always been. Who had 13? Trey Allen had 13 sacks, I believe. Yeah. Anyway, up there, high on the school record, and then he puts himself over 20 his senior year, getting another 10 sacks, and had like one of the best interceptions I've ever seen against Port Arthur Memorial in 2022. They threw one, and he just jumps up like a cat snatched out of the air. Crazy athleticism, crazy explosive. A lot of pop with Jeremiah Rugley, and that athleticism let him chase down running backs, quarterbacks, anybody that had the ball. Rugley was going to be around it. A very good football player, and comes up here on this list for a career 22 sacks. Comes up here on this list at number 27. At number 26, a guy from Lufkin, Texas in 2015. It is the Kansas State guy, Bronson Massey. Bronson Massey, big-time player in the middle of the 2010s for Lufkin. Made his varsity debut as a sophomore. He had 5 sacks. As a junior, comes back. He's got 88 tackles, 18 for loss, 11 more sacks on top of that. And then he stripped the quarterback and had 6 fumbles. In 2015, had a big senior year, had 80 tackles and 10 more sacks. So we're talking about a guy with over 20 sacks in his career. He's got, let's count them. 11 plus 16, 11, 5, 16. There's 26 career sacks from Lufkin, Texas, in 5A, 4A, 6A football. So we're talking big football out here. Well, they never were 4A, 5A, 6A football. So he goes to Kansas State. He's a multi-year starter for Kansas State. Had a chance to probably go to the league there at the end of his career. Big 12, all Big 12 type of guy, nomination. So very good high school football player. College backs it up, and he comes in here at number 26. At number 25, one of those guys who are just very good high school football players, signed with Trinity Valley and had a very good season this year too. It is Zarius Shepard from Longview. Played in 2023 with his last year from 2021 to 23. One of those young bucks that we put out there as a sophomore in 2021, and they grew up in 2022 and 2023 to produce pretty good football teams for Longview. Some of the best that come through there. Sophomore year was not great. He had his junior years where the numbers were really good. 76 tackles, 19 for loss, 11 and a half sacks, 3 forced fumbles, 3 fumble recoveries, and then he even blocked a punt in that junior year. Then you take that, and then you double down as a senior, and you come back with 79 tackles, 21 tackles for loss, 10 sacks, a forced fumble recovery, and then you collect the safety. So you're one of the few guys with over 20 sacks at Longview. You've got 21 and a half. That's in your junior and senior year. He might have had 2 or 3 as a sophomore. I don't know. I don't have those numbers in front of me. So we're talking to a guy who's at least got 21 and a half sacks. We can say that. So over 20, which is a big number for me, at Longview, 5A, 6A level. and just to be him, Rugley, and Billy Smith to be the only guys at Longview to ever have 20 career sacks also lets you understand the evolution of the game, but at the same time, that's rare air, and they're the only guys that have it. And that's why they pop up here in these mid-20s, and Darius Shepard is the leader of that bunch at number 25. Here we go at number 24, a guy that had to play both ways in high school in 2021 and 2022, Kevian Huddleston. And he's one of the best players in East Texas because he's playing both sides of the ball, 4A high school football, not catching a break, playing all of the snaps on offense, catching his breaks on defense, comes in the game on defense, and is as disruptive as possible. So the numbers aren't going to blow you away. 60-something career tackles. He's got sacks. He's got 8 career sacks. But like I said, he's a full-time left tackle, and the plays that he makes and the moments that he made them and the style that he makes it in lets you know that this dude can really play football. So really high on Kevian Huddleston. Signed to TCU out of high school. Spent a couple of years there. He hit the portal. He's now going to be at North Texas this next season. And hopefully he gets on the field in North Texas and makes me look right for putting him here in this spot with the little production that he has, mainly because he was starting on the other side of the ball the entire time. So to me, great respect for that. And the plays that he did make, he looks good at doing it. And he got to TCU doing it. So let's see what he does at North Texas this year. But he comes on the list at number 24. At number 23, 2019, Tyler Legacy, Jamal Ligon. And Jamal Ligon was a starter at UTSA at linebacker the last 2 years. But at Tyler Lee, he was a chubbier guy. Played tight end, played defensive end for Coach Kurt Traylor at that time, and led a turnaround. They were really bad at a time, and they went 6-5 his senior year in 2019, and he was the best player on that team. He had 78 tackles, 16 for loss, 11 sacks, 2 forced fumbles, and a pass breakup, while also playing on the offensive side of the ball, catching the ball. I don't have his offensive numbers in front of me. But he was a very good football player on not a very good team. 2 years, like 2 years before, I think they were 2-8. The year before, I think they were like 4-6, and then they went 6-5. So he's a part of a turnaround. And then he proved his merit as being a great football player. And it wasn't just fool's gold. He was a really good football player because he's been the starting linebacker at UTSA and has been balling for the Roadrunners the last 2 years. So that, to me, puts him here at number 23. Here we go. At number 22, from Dangerfield, Texas in 2013, Kelshin Neal comes in here, and he has the most absolute ridiculous stat line in the world. One season, he puts up 181 tackles, 61 tackles for loss, 23 sacks in 2013. Two-way defensive player of the year. Most dominant year that you'll ever see on this list. Now, why is he at 22? Because I don't think he's getting that done on the 5A, 6A level. Much respect, though. I got him in front of a lot of guys that I think he's probably not even better than, because he's 5'9", 185, and that's just the bias coming out. But that's also the respect on the list, because a lot of guys I don't think he's better than, that probably played better football down the line. But you don't shit on 23 sacks. You don't shit on 181 tackles. So that's kind of where the scale went for me. Nothing personal, of course. Don't know anybody here on this list except my guys. But that's why he pops up here at number 22. Much respect, though, to the stat line. Don't know anything from his junior year. Can't find a stat from his junior year. Don't know if he went and played in college. Couldn't find anything after this year. Just one Aladdin type year where this is just magic carpet. I'm finna hit everything I see. Jackpot type of year for a senior year. Great job from the coaches for noticing where he would be at, putting him in the best spot to be the most disruptive, and that season was incredible. He pops up here at number 22. I said senior. Jordan Renard Tyler Legacy 2021. And this is where, I got to be honest with you guys. My personal bias has kicked in. He kicked our ass in 2021. Even though we won the game probably 40-0, it was like the most like non-dominating 40-0 offensively ever. He kind of whipped us up and down a lot of scrimmage for good guys to the next. He had a day with us that day. And that type of talent, speed combination, in front of my own eyes, is I haven't seen it. And so, to me, he is a very special football player. Now, his production is not special at all. As a junior, he had like 60 tackles, 2 sacks, 8 tackles behind the line of scrimmage. As a senior, don't get too much better. He had 53 tackles, 12 disruptive plays, my line of scrimmage, and 5.5 sacks. But that's scheme. A lot of that is scheme. And it's kind of like the same thing with Bubba Vector. When you talk about, not having that many high numbers, the scheme doesn't allow him to like really just take on guys one-on-one. He's always getting double team in these odd structures. And so it's not a chance for him to be explosive. So I'm going off eye test and the projections and predictions. I'm kind of being hypocritical here, but I do think Jordan Renard is special. I think he's going to start at Alabama this year, and I think he's going to be a very productive player because he has that otherworldly type of athleticism. Yeah, I haven't seen that type of force on the field before, and that's why I still have him in this spot, and I think he's going to do wonders. Now, we'll figure it out. I'll be wrong, and then, where I'm right, there's times where I'm wrong. So we'll see about this one on number 21, but I'm willing to bet that Jordan Renard at Alabama this year will make me look pretty good for putting him here in this spot at number 21. Keeping it going. At number 20, from John Tyler High, number 20, Pierre Leonard. Pierre Leonard was an absolute animal. They say he's 5'10", but he looks a little bit shorter than that. He probably was like 5'9"ish, 245 pounds in high school, but he looked like Aaron Donald. The way Aaron Donald plays, he's not very tall. He's not having these physical advantages against these huge offensive linemen in the NFL, but just the way that he could dismiss people, that was kind of Pierre Leonard. You couldn't really move him. He had tree trunks for legs. He wasn't going anywhere. He was savvy. He was athletic, and he was hella productive. As a junior, he was district newcomer of the year. 91 tackles, 15 for loss, 12 sacks that year. Had a fumble recovery, and he blocked 5 kicks at the 5A level. As a senior, he comes back, 248 pounds, 79 tackles, 18 tackles for loss, 5 more sacks, 5 forced fumbles, 2 fumble recoveries. And to me, he was leading JT's all-time tackle for loss leader. And then even at Commerce, he went and played and was a part of that national championship team that they had in Commerce, I believe in 2018. So very good and productive player. And once like the top 20, just like one of those guys I'm biased about because I saw it. And I saw him, and he kicked our ass, and I saw it. And I know how good he is. And so that's why he's here at number 20. But his numbers actually do kind of back it up. 17 career sacks, playing nose guard, defensive tackle, at that size, kicking ass, number 20, Pierre Leonard. At number 19, from Kilgore, Texas, 2005, we've got Wayne Daniels. Wayne Daniels, a brute on the defensive line in 04 and 05. Senior year, he was played both ways, first team all district at both tight end and defensive end for the Bulldogs. As a senior, 65 tackles, 11 sacks. 3 pressures, as well as an interception in 2005. So big production as a junior as well. Can't find his numbers. Just one of those things like I don't have the numbers for his junior year. And then like sometimes and I don't have the numbers for Eddie Jones, but that's because the University of Texas has his sophomore and junior and senior year numbers on there. When you go and look at Wayne Daniels, they only have his senior year numbers. And they say he had 8 sacks instead of 11, but I'm rolling with the 11 because it's a school record, and I'm rolling with that. But they don't have his junior numbers on there. But at TCU, very successful as well. Really a program player. Red shirt, found his way onto the field. Then became a starter. Starter in 2009. He was second team All Mountain West. He had 5.5 sacks. And then in 2010, he had 6.5 sacks and 14 tackles for loss. And that performance named him first team All American by the Football Writers Association of America and Phil Steele. So, and a couple of those people who do All-American lists saw that Wayne Daniels was one of the best two defensive ends in the nation after his 6.5 sack and 14 tackles for loss performance. So doing it on both the high school level and then definitely doing it on the big-time college level at the Mountain West Conference level, and then going, I think in 10, that was the Rose Bowl team with Andy Dalton. So doing it on the big-time level, and that's why he was named first-team All-American. So he comes in here there at number 19. At number 18, from Longview, Texas, we're getting filthy here with these numbers now. It's Andrew Beltran. And to me, Beltran is the best defensive lineman from Longview High School. 6 foot, 235 pounds. Nothing impressive about it. Like, not going to win a get off the bus contest. Looks like an old school Mike linebacker. Looks like, like a Rocky kind of dude. And when he turns it on, he turns it on. As a junior, he got hurt, messed his knee up really bad, came back late in the playoffs, played like maybe the last 3 games of the season in that state title run. And then in 2019, fully healthy, fully on go, fully let boys have it. He had 64 tackles, a school record, 27 tackles for loss. This is at a 6A level, 27 tackles for loss, and then 11 sacks at that time, and then a forced fumble and a fumble recovery. All playing defensive tackle, not on the edge, not one of those sack finesse kind of guys that can get to the quarterback. Nah, this dude was in the middle of it all and was the biggest brute in the room every single night. Best defensive lineman I've seen come from Longview in the last 25 years. And he comes up here at number 18, Drew Beltran. At number 17, from Texas High, one of the most athletic players to play defensive end in East Texas, it is Derek Brown from 2021. Derek Brown, just an absolute terror off the edge. Athleticism was on par. He's athletic enough to be a wide receiver, corner, safety. He's that type of fast, change of direction, has that. And then he's physical on top of all that. As a junior, outside linebacker, defensive end type of guy, he had 67 tackles, 20 tackles for loss, 6 sacks, 3 forced fumbles, 2 fumble recoveries, and an interception. That brought in all kinds of attention for Derek Brown. He was about 6'2", 185 pounds at that time. Big offseason, comes back 195, 200 pounds, and then puts the numbers up. Like most guys put up big numbers their junior year and then they fall off with their senior year. Now this dude does it both years. His senior year, 88 tackles, 12 sacks, 30 pressures, a forced fumble and a fumble recovery, and 2 blocked extra points, 2 blocked kicks on the year. Signed with the University of Texas. Then it didn't work out there for him. Hit the transfer portal. Was signed with Texas State. Don't know where he's at. So his college career, doesn't really have the oomph that his high school career had. But man, this dude was electric. He was very tough to block. He would run you down from the backside. Very explosive. One of the higher touted recruits to ever come from East Texas. And I think his game and his stat level and the production all worthy of being here at number 17. At number 16, 2012, Henderson is Bo Brady. All right, so Henderson, and now we're talking guys that were going to Texas, and we're talking guys that have been here, there, 6A programs. And so where is a guy like Henderson? How does he get on the list? Absolute production, hair on fire production. He's 6'1", 190-something pounds, and his junior year, he had 116 tackles, 27 for loss, 17 sacks, 7 forced fumbles, and a punt blocked as a junior playing defensive tackle. Then as a senior, he goes out and plays defensive end. He has 81 tackles, 15.5 sacks, 31 tackles for loss, and then another 5 forced fumbles. And this is when Henderson, 2012, they had just coming off of a state title in 2010, I believe. Dale Barnes is back in 11. I think they maybe even won in 11. I don't know if they won in 10. I think they might have won in 11. But this is like when Henderson is rolling. And this is some highly productive play for a highly productive team at this time. Very important guy in 2011 and 2012. First team All East Texas both years. And high school production is enough and is valid for me to put him here at number 16. At number 15, another guy, very similar story. 5'11", 245 pounds, same era, 2012, LaDarren Anthony from Kilgore. Just a bull in a china shop, man. Had 114 tackles, 12 of them for loss, 12 sacks, 1 block kick, 1 pass breakup, 1 forced fumble, and then he recovered it. That's as a junior. First team All East Texas, first team All State. Senior year, just as dominant. 94 tackles, 8 for loss, 12 and a half sacks, 39 rushes, 4 forced fumbles, and then another blocked kick on top of that stat line. So you got 2 first team All East Texases, 2 first team All States, and that was right before Kilgore went to state in 2013. So he was a part of some really good football teams, preparing those guys for what was to come, and that's why I got him here at number 15. Same type of stat line coming at you again. 2000 for number 14, 2008 Carthage, Deshaun Williams. All right, huge part of the back-to-back state champions in 08, 09, and then going into 10. A 2-time All-State, 2-time All-East Texas guy, 2-time district MVP. Just completely dominant. Like it looks, it's a Shaq type run, man. His junior year, 120 tackles, 18 for loss, 11 sacks, 13 pressures, 4 forced fumbles, 5 pass breakups. Senior year, 132 tackles, 30 of them for loss, 6 sacks, 17 pressures, 3 forced fumbles. We're talking about a man that's about the size of like 6'2", 290, huge, went on to play at Texas State. Productive player, not a great starter or anything by any means, but it was a productive player there. But as far as being a high school dominant defensive lineman, 2 first-team All-States, 2 first-team All-East Texases, pops up here on the list at number 14, Deshaun Williams. At number 13, from 2024, Pleasant Grove, Lance Jackson. All right, so it's going to be some guys looking at me with question marks because Lance Jackson didn't make the top 100 list. That was more of a technicality. He did not make a highlight tape. That's a visual product. This is facts. This list here is about who was the best. And let's talk about it. Lance Jackson, 5-star prospect, 6'7", 240 pounds, 230 pounds in high school. And maybe some recency bias here. But I do know how athletic he is based off his junior tape. And you can only imagine what his senior tape would look like because the numbers just went up. As a junior, though, okay, 69 tackles, 7.5 tackles for loss, 3 sacks. He also had 3 forced fumbles. But, you know, he kind of took that number and went all the way up with it. Now, he's also a full-time starter at tight end as well. So he's not one of those guys with the luxury of just chilling on the sideline the entire half of the game. He's, as a senior, 63 tackles, 28.5 tackles for loss, 9 sacks, and then he forces a fumble. All right? So as well as he moves, for as big as he is at 6'7", 230 pounds, he is one of the scariest prospects that you'll ever see on the tape. Production doesn't say top 10. But 5-star gets you up there. Special freak type of one-in-a-lifetime type of athlete, that'll get you up there. And then hopefully at the University of Texas, he'll keep his spot and make me look all right for having him here at number 13. Pleasant Grove's Lance Jackson. At number 12, Tyree Wilson from West Rusk. All right, he's the only first-round pick on this list. Nobody thought it would be this good. You know what I'm saying? He comes out of West Rusk, signs with Texas A&M, transferred from A&M to Texas Tech, and then he was a 3-year starter there and took off and got drafted in the first round. What did he do in high school? As a junior, 74 tackles, 13 for loss, 4 sacks. Okay, so he's figuring it out. He's a guy that looked like he played like skill position, like he was like a quarterback or something. Then they moved him to defense. I don't know. I'm guessing on that. As a senior, though, he got busy. 123 tackles, 39 for loss, 5 sacks, 5 forced fumbles, 5 fumble recoveries. Okay, so you know what happened after he left high school in the NFL, drafted by Vegas, number 7 overall. The talent blossomed probably even more in college, but in high school he got busy. He was a very, very productive player at the defensive end, outside linebacker type of spot. And not gonna lie, some of the what he did a little later on in his career does play some bias in there. But we're gonna stick him here at number 12. We feel like that's what he's earned. Tyree Wilson. At number 11, from the University of Texas. No, I'm playing. From John Tyler, from Tyler High, 2002. Tim Crowder. Tim Crowder, different era of football. Can't count sacks. You can't even look at the game the same way. Because back then they were lining up with double tight ends, pitching that ball power left, power right at John Tyler. So it's a different world back in the early 2000s, which is almost like too different to even compare to these younger guys who get to rush the quarterback all game long and get 3, 4, 5 sacks a game. And playing sorrier people, because I just believe the older and the more time goes that the very good are still being very good, but the average is just dropping by the day. Like the new average is ass, and the very good is still very good, but the new average player is kind of ass these days. But anyway, at number 11, Tim Crowder pops up here. His career high school, 127 tackles, 22 for loss, 14 sacks during his high school time. And then, of course, he went to the University of Texas as a part of one of the greatest defenses of all time in 2005. Went ahead and got drafted in the second round by the Denver Broncos. Punched out probably a 7 to 8 year career in the NFL. And so really proud of Tim Crowder. Proud of representing John Tyler at 903, and he pops up here on the list at number 11. And so here we go. We have it here, the top 10 players, top 10 defensive linemen from East Texas since 2000. Let's get right into it. Clayton Smith, Texas High, 2020. 2 back-to-back years with 10-plus sacks as a junior. Numbers read 63 tackles, 12 sacks, 3 forced fumbles, and then as a senior, 53 tackles, 20 for loss, 10.5 sacks, 29 pressures, and 3 more forced fumbles. All right. 5-star type of dude coming out. People really high on him. Certain people had him as a 5-star. Signed with the University of Oklahoma. So everything about that says top 10. He has a high school resume locked down. Goes to Oklahoma, doesn't play his first couple of years, transfers to Arizona State. He's been a 2-year starter. So part of that run, him and CJ Fight actually starting and again arriving at Arizona State at the same time and 2-year starters together. So two 903 guys, 2 East Texas guys coming out there doing their thing at Arizona State. And, he pops up here on the list. Very, very good with his hands. Finesse player, has the athleticism to make offensive linemen miss. Also will mix it up and be physical at the line of scrimmage. So Clayton Smith, to me, earns the spot and pops up here at number 10. He was my first ever number 1 player of East Texas and top the inaugural top 100 of East Texas 2020's number 1 player, Clayton Smith. Here at number 10 from Texas High. All right, at number 9, we got number 9, Jamarcus McFarland, 2008 Lufkin. McFarland, he fits in that category of junior year was better than senior year. His prime, his best, him in high school at his best was his junior year. He was about 285 pounds, 6'3", and that's where he really earned that 5-star. He was tearing people's heads off as a sophomore and junior year. Senior year was a little big. He was just a little heavy. Still a good football player, but the explosion wasn't really there. It's the only reason I think I stayed alive out there on the field against him that year. About 305 pounds. He was a wall. It was like hitting a wall whenever you blocked him, but didn't have that same pop as he did that really earned that 5-star prospect as a junior that made him the number 1 defensive tackle. Nonetheless, goes to Oklahoma. And at Oklahoma was a productive player there, never like a full-time starter. But as a senior, I don't know if he made second team all Big 12, I'm thinking. Either way, he got a shot to play in the NFL with the Chargers. Played in camp with them. Then he became a defensive line coach, and right now he is TCU's defensive line coach after making stops at Stephen F. And I believe Oklahoma as well. So a very young, hot name in the coaching world. Eventually a guy that's going to probably be a defensive coordinator. Jamarcus McFarland first got his roots in a 936 down there in Lufkin, and Pump's up here on the list at number 9. At number 8, we have Matthew Burton, and it took everything in me not to just be like completely biased and put the kid number 1. His numbers are absolutely ridiculous. He has over 300 tackles as a varsity football player. 4 years of varsity, 24 tackles, 2 sacks as a freshman. Then he's the starter his sophomore year. 111 tackles, 5 sacks. 2020, he comes in on my top 100 list at number 14 after 104 tackles and 17 sacks. In 2021, he was my best player in East Texas. Astronomical stat line. He had 133 tackles and 15 sacks. Burton had all the moves. He had all the counters. You could tell he studied tape. He could point things out. You couldn't block him one-on-one. His closing speed is incredible. To me, honestly, really, the only knock that you could put on him right now is that he didn't play elite competition. So the thing that to me, I think he's the same player at the 5A, 6A level. It's just hard to overcome the myth, the lore, and the legacy of what these top 7 are. But to me, he's at the same table with these dudes. Who knows, in 2 years he might be my number 1 player. I don't know. Like, he's, to me, it's that fluid for me with Matthew Burton. Matthew Burton can slide up a lot of slots because he's got the argument to do it. As soon as he stepped on the field as a full-time starter, 100 tackles, sophomore, junior, and senior year. Yeah. Let me get on before I make him number 1. At number 7, McKenna Dixon from Lufkin, Texas, 2004. Played defensive tackle and defensive end for Lufkin in 2003 and 2004. As a junior year, he was a nose guard at 6'4", 255. He had 88 tackles, 14 tackles for loss, and 3 sacks then. Then he earned first team all district. As a senior, he goes to defensive end, and he wreck shopped even more. 96 tackles, 31 for loss, 12 sacks. He had 14 pressures and forced 4 fumbles, recovered 2 fumbles, and took one of them to the crib. When he got to Texas Tech, this is how dominant of a football player he was. He had 6 sacks as a freshman defensive tackle at about 6'4", 265 pounds. Second team freshman All-American. And then he went to, I don't know what happened, but he ended up going to JUCO his sophomore year, then ended up being right back at Texas Tech the next year. So we're talking about a dude, and this is in the middle of the mid-2000s when the Big 12 was an actual conference and people cared about him. McKenna Dixon came out there wrecking shop immediately. If you look at his numbers and what they say he could do athletically, squat 560, bench 360, run a 4.6 at 6'4", 260. It's absolutely scary. And that's why he's here at number 7. At number 6, one of the most productive players in recent history, Boone Morris from Mount Vernon. And a lot of people, if you don't know him, you just need to go research Boone Morris on YouTube, top 100. Go watch his plays because the play stands for itself. As a sophomore, fresh out there, he had 141 tackles, 38 tackles for loss, 8 sacks, 4 forced fumbles, 2 fumble recoveries, and 37 quarterback pressures. As a junior, he goes nuts again. 154 tackles, 37 tackles for loss, 11 sacks, 3 forced fumbles, and 27 pressures. And then as a senior, he goes and plays Mike linebacker And you'll find out his linebacker numbers because he'll be on the linebacker list before he goes and sign with Kansas State to go play linebacker. Stats are out of there. The play is out of there. The relentlessness is out of there. The effort is there. The smarts are there. The hits are there. He looks different from the rest of the competition that's out there on the field. And I can't wait for him to get a chance at Kansas State to really show and prove that I'm right here. Where Boone Morris pops up here at number 6 as one of the best defensive linemen ever from East Texas. At number 5, LeGaryon Carson. Liberty Alo, his last year was 2014, I believe. All right, you're 6'4", you're 265, and you run a 4.6 in high school. That's LeGaryon Carson. The most intimidating athlete that we've had at defensive line in East Texas. Supposed to be the nation's Davion Clowney. It just didn't pan out that way, but there's a reason why people were going nuts for Carson. As a sophomore, 101 tackles, 32 for loss, 18 sacks, a pass breakup, and he had 5 forced fumbles. Like, that's a stat line for a senior. Like, that's a first-team All-State line. Like, oh, my God. Anyway, as a junior, this is where it gets nuts. 170 tackles, 14 for loss, 20 sacks, 2 pass breakups, and 6 forced fumbles. Now, he gets in trouble between the junior and senior year. I didn't research what he did because I don't care. He got kicked off the team, but he was committed to the University of Texas at 6'4", 265 pounds. And he's got numbers and he has a game that reminds you of Colin Simmons, but he's 6'4", 265. So, yeah, LeGaryon Carson, despite not being even able to finish his senior year, I'm rolling with it. Number 5, stamp it. If he plays his senior year, if he does what he's supposed to do, he's number 1. At number 4, 2014, Glade Water, it's Dalen Mack. And a lot of people are going to be a little bit surprised at him being here at 6 foot and anywhere from about 275 to 325 pounds. Ain't no telling with Dalen Mack. He's just one of the scariest people to play in East Texas. Especially when you got to block him on that 3A, 4A level. That shit just ain't fair. I done seen the level. I've been down there. I coached at Tatum for a year. It is not great. And so when you got somebody that looks like that runs that fast, that plays that hard, it ain't a good matchup. And so let's just talk about what he did. District Newcomer of the Year, sophomore, 72 tackles, 23 for loss, 6 sacks, 8 fumble recoveries, and a touchdown. Junior year is where he goes absolutely nuts. 97 tackles, 36 of them for loss, 6 sacks, and 8 forced fumbles. And not having to play in some of those fourth quarters, mercy rule. And that's the thing about, like, some of these guys that are so dominant, like, and then some of them aren't. Some of them don't care. They'll get as many as they can. You can tell Dalen Mack was probably like, all right, I'm going to chill until y'all do something that piss me off. Because his junior year is absolutely stupid. The numbers are crazy. It's stupid. And senior year, after being named All-American, All-State, District MVP, he had 78 tackles, 5 sacks, 4 forced fumbles, on top of playing fullback on offense and running for 262 yards and 12 touchdowns this season. So, a dominant football player in every right. Considered a 5-star at one time because his talent was, like, unforeseen. It's ridiculous. The strength, speed, power, explosiveness can't be really replicated. He's one of those, and that's why he's here in the top 4, coming up here at number 4. At number 3, it is Landon Jackson from Pleasant Grove, from 2020. Comes in. He's a 4-year varsity guy. Played a little bit as a freshman, had 45 tackles, what is it? District Newcomer of the Year. Don't have his freshman numbers. I'm sorry. Really don't have his specific numbers other than his junior year, the biggest season he had, where he was first team All-State, first team All-American, coming up with 17 sacks, and as a district MVP. He had 45 career sacks. He played 3 years. His senior year, he was hurt in like the third game of the year. Freshman District Newcomer of the Year, sophomore, first team All-District. And then his junior year with the big 17 sack year, just every accolade you can get. Signed with LSU, was at one point a 5-star until they saw him slap bags, and they realized he couldn't do that, and so they couldn't let him be a 5-star and not be able to slap bags, right? So he drops down to a 4-star. And then he goes to LSU. There at LSU, didn't work out for him. Goes to Arkansas. Arkansas works out for him. He's probably going to get his name called in the 3rd to 5th round in this month's draft. Had a really good year, a couple of 6.5 sack years for Arkansas these last couple of years. And is about going to get a chance to be in the NFL and one of the most dominant high school football players to come through East Texas. At number 2, one of the most ridiculous stat lines you'll ever see in somebody's senior year ever. A 3-year producer down there from Tyler High, John Tyler. 2012 is Tyus Bowser. He was a 3-star prospect in the current Miami Dolphin, was an absolute menace in high school. As a sophomore, kind of got acclimated. He had 52 tackles, 4 sacks. I got a chance to block him. Kind of did my thing because I was a senior. I'm not playing, but I'm playing. You could tell like he was going to be real good. It just wasn't that time yet. And you can see in the numbers, it just wasn't that time yet. As a junior, though, kind of got it figured out. 61 tackles, 5 sacks, had a pick, 3 fumbles recovered. He's also playing offense at this time. And then as a senior, he goes to some camps over the years. They're telling him, hey, you're going to be a defensive lineman. You're going to be an outside linebacker. You're going to rush this passer. And he takes it serious. And he comes back after that 5-sack performance and comes back with 24 sacks as a senior. 59 tackles and 24 sacks in one season. So that lets you know the dominance that they had. 2012 also, they played 15 games that year. Greg Ward Jr. is the quarterback. They lose to Denver Geyer in the 5th round that year. But boy, how special was Tyus Bowser his senior year. 24 sacks, more sacks in 1 year than people's 3-4 year careers. Goes on to the University of Houston. Is that guy at the University of Houston. Gets drafted in the 2nd round by the Baltimore Ravens. Was a productive starter in the NFL. Got hurt. Came back this year for the Miami Dolphins. So representing 903 from JT. Tyler High, 2012. It is Tyus Bowser. And the number 1 defensive lineman from East Texas is Eddie Jones from Kilgore. His resume, it's going to take Matthew Burton's the only one that could like really compete with it from a stat standpoint. But then he went to the University of Texas and was a productive player at the University of Texas. And that just kind of stamps the talent. Ridiculous numbers throughout his career. Started as a sophomore. Sophomore year, he comes out, 84 tackles, 6 sacks, 8 pass breakups, 3 forced fumbles, 2 fumble recoveries, and 4 quarterback pressures. Junior year is where it takes off. 131 tackles, 11 sacks, 10 tackles for loss, 11 pass breakups, a forced fumble, and 15 pressures. He's got everybody's attention. He's all over the market. He's committed to the University of Texas. And then as a senior comes back with 95 tackles, 11 more sacks, 6 pass breakups, 4 forced fumbles, 6 fumble recoveries, 11 quarterback pressures, and then he even blocked a punt, which he then returned for a touchdown. Insane numbers from Eddie Jones. Intimidating as they get. 6'3", 230. Looks like Ray Lewis playing defense end. Strong, fast, mean, scariness. Then goes to the University of Texas. He does not turn into the player, that the prospect, the 5-star prospect, and the very high accolades that he accomplished in high school. He did not kind of reach that in college, but was a productive and a solid player for the University of Texas, and is now currently a coach. I think he's a defensive coordinator, maybe even like at Tarleton or something. Not sure for that. But that's it. That's our top 50. That's my top 50 defensive linemen to come through. There's going to be guys with probably better numbers. I don't know. There's going to be guys that, it's all subjective. It's just an opinion. I try to do the best research I could. This is the list that I come up with. Next week, we get into those linebackers. So y'all just y'all get ready for that. It's content spring. It's list spring. And this time we're getting defensive and nasty. And in the words of Stephen A. Oh, no.